with the picture that I had did over the weekend. And she did it as a motivation for me and my team, because at the time, I told her I ain't recruiting nobody. I ain't trying to manage. I've managed all my life. So that was her her way of saying, hey, look, a year ago you said you wasn't going to do this. Now you have 3 recruits and you are right on the door, and you're now life of the party goals. So it's a very big difference, a very big difference within that little amount of time. So yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. What do you feel like has changed for you? What was the big deciding factor for you for to kind of start changing with this?
Um,
Because you said before, oh, I would never do this. I'm sure there's a story there with not wanting to manage people from what you did before, but what has changed for you? What do you think?
The fact of learning that even though I came in this for the reason that I said that it was for a discount, but it's really not about me and it's about others. And that I was being selfish of not sharing the opportunity and sharing the feelings that I was getting from doing this. So that changed. And then, oh my, once I got in contact with you all, which came from a congratulation from Mama Frank for reaching life of the party brunch. I was like, and who is this? And I've been by myself for 4 months, and now what? Well, whatever. That has made a major change in my business. So yeah.
So awesome. Is that interesting that just something small like that, just a simple text of where we're at in our life can just make a huge difference, and the power that we all have in just bringing a little bit of light to other people's lives and just letting them feel seen. We all want to feel seen and heard in our lives, and just man, kudos to you for starting a new business. Something that I heard recently, I don't know if I shared with you guys, but a guy that I've been following on social media is a lot of times we celebrate the beginning of a journey or a business and the end. Hey, Josetta, you started. I mean, look where you were before, look where you're at now. But a lot of times we don't celebrate the in between, right? And I'm sure there was a lot of ups and downs through this past year, I'm sure, right? A lot of ups and downs, and that's what we want to celebrate. We're in the in between, and that's what we should be celebrating, is the in between. So super, super cool, Josette. Thanks for sharing with us. We're super proud of how far you've come. Super, super cool. Good for you. Definitely inspiration. Stories like that this is what we do. This is what we're here for. So good for you. Good for you. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Excuse my mom. She has a little procedure today. My sister has some stuff going on, so I'm up today. So we're super excited. Hopefully some people over on Facebook shout out some love, give some love over here. But want to give one more quick little win, and then we'll get into today's conversation. For anybody joining us, anybody new or any of that, we like to start off with a win, or another term is a gain. So there's this book called The Gap and the Gain that I've heard about, and I've actually started reading, and really, really cool information about when we tend to get overwhelmed or frustrated, or even in a sense of suffering. I feel like there's a difference between pain and suffering. We all experience pain, but suffering is self-induced. We can manage suffering, but we can't manage pain sometimes. So by realizing the gap of where we are now and where we're not, we're in this kind of frustrating space. We can kind of feel overwhelmed that oh, I'm not at my goal of 1,000 pieces a month. I'm not at my goal at this, right? But the gain is man, Josette, look how far you've come, man. Man, sorry. Look how far you've come, girl. Seriously, you have come so far. That is so awesome. And that's the appreciation that, man, I have come a long way. That is so cool. And by living in that gain, you can go after your goal. So just want to kind of celebrate that. Any wins, any gains from this last weekend, any new insights, anything that somebody would like to share with us. One more, and we'll kind of get into some things.
I'll share. Someone invited me from another vending event. I've expressed before, I do my best when I'm in front of the people, when I'm actually serving the people hands-on. So I was at another vending event back in April or something. Someone invited me to a Juneteenth free event. I really didn't want to do it. I was pooped out from Saturday and Sunday festivities, but I made the commitment. I showed up to the full event on Monday and had to walk away with at least $300-400 easy.
Oh, awesome.
Totally a gain.
So awesome. So awesome. Something interesting about that, Tanya, is how many times in our life that if by having external factors or commitments that we have, that we actually take action. Whereas if we didn't have that, it's like, nah, I've already had a crazy weekend. I don't need to do that, right? But by forcing it, it's kind of like a safety net or like a force of like, okay, I committed to this, I got to be there. And because of that, you still have a great experience from it. You know, it's kind of forcing that motivation or that action to kind of take place. So thanks, Tanya. Big win. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, well, we are going to get started. So thank you guys so much again for joining us. Josette, Suzanne, Zanetta, Virginia, Trise, Bill, good to see you guys. Always good to see you guys. Today is day 52. So we're over halfway through this recruiting run. And today is about a conversation. He says a conversation reset. So he says there's going to be kind of letting you guys know, kind of pre-framing you or kind of getting you guys ready for next month. There's going to be a big sprint, a big focus on a lot of action to be taking place this next month. And so something he said is, started off with is what do we do in business? What is the thing that we focus on the most in business? And he said, all business is conversation. And something I've heard recently about this whole new AI movement and all this crazy stuff with internet and information out there, that sometimes it could be overwhelming. And sometimes it could be a big change and pivot in what we're doing in life. And some people could be out of jobs with some of this new. But something that I had a friend say close by was, it doesn't matter how far we come with technology, there will always be a sense of connection and personal connection that will always be there. And so if we can focus on that, especially with conversation, and feel like someone's like loves us and we can connect with people, there was always going to be there. So because all business is conversation, what he's going to today is all about a conversation reset. So what we're going to do is, he said that basically give the homework first, and we'll kind of talk through this, is we want to have 100 conversations with 100 different people that aren't a part of our business in the next 48 hours, in the next 2 days. Okay. So something that he talks about is what we're doing here is warming up these people that are in, whether you're creating a list and you've built a list of some of these people, or maybe some of your followers, we're warming up some of these people. So as we get into our big sprint month next month, they're warmed and ready, and we've had a little bit of conversation with them. Okay. So something he said is, when you have these conversations, do not pivot to business, because he's in a future training, we're going to talk about how to pivot into like a business conversation. Do not pivot into that yet. Okay. Just have a conversation with them. Just talk to them about something. Okay. Again, do not invite them. Don't worry about having anything. He said birthday messages are okay, but sometimes they're a little white noise because we get a lot of birthday messages and it's not as personal sometimes. So the purpose of this whole conversations is to warm up your market, is to warm up your people. Okay. And do the best that you can. If you're at the end of this thing and you get to 90 and you get frustrated about the 10 that you didn't get to, that's the gap. We talked about the gap. Focus on the gain. Hey, what's great about it is I at least did 90. What's great about the situation is I at least did 20 more. I took more action than I ever would, but the goal is 100. Okay. So we're going to push for that. Okay. So something he talks about is, again, the goal is to converse or talk with these people and just have a conversation. Okay. And something he said is, he used the example of, he talked about tennis, but a big trend, I feel like everywhere, is like this whole pickleball stuff. Like this, I feel like pickleball came out of nowhere. But pickleball, we have like pickleball courts all over our different parks everywhere in Utah, like they're popping up everywhere. But he said in pickleball, or if you know tennis or ping pong, there's a serve and there's a back and forth. And that's the goal with what we're doing with the conversation. You hit it over the net. That's the goal, is to just get it over the net. And if they respond, get it back over the net. And a great way to do that is to ask a question. Keep asking questions. Okay. So if let's say they mess up and the ball doesn't go back over the net, we just have to reserve. So we have to restart a new conversation with that person or somebody. Okay. So the goal is to keep the ball going back and forth, or keep the conversation going as long as possible. Okay. And a couple tips and tricks that I've seen over the years, or I've learned from this Eric Worre and social media stuff is, first of all, something he said is, find a way to compliment them, right? how good do we feel when we receive a compliment, and how much we feel like kind of even connected to someone when we get a compliment. Um, Very interestingly, I actually got contacted by a different network marketing company this last weekend with my wife. I was in Harmon's. We were trying to find, it was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. It was a little bit later. And this guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, dude, nice mustache. I think you have a sweet mustache." And immediately I was like, "Dude, like, thank you so much. I've been growing this out for a couple months." He's like, "How long did that take?" "Oh, like this." And we just started talking back and forth. And he got to the point where like he wanted to talk to me about what he's doing. Okay. So interesting of how warms up the conversation when we receive a compliment. And it's not, to me, in the sense of just doing it for because we want something in return, but it's really like the idea of making someone's day a little bit brighter, is that's kind of make sure the focus of all of this, whatever we do, is genuine. Okay. Because something he said is that as we pivot to business, if we do the pivot in an incorrect way or something, it could be taking the wrong way and feel like our conversation that we're having with this person is ingenuine and be like, "Oh, well, you're just talking to me because you want my business." It's like, well, I actually want to talk to you, but I know that this could be helpful and I just want to bring it up. But again, we'll talk about how to pivot later. We're just having a conversation. So a couple tips and tricks. Again, first of all, compliment, show some love, do something to compliment them. Okay. Second thing, another tip and trick is to use the LORD, LORD kind of framework. It's a framework. So in some sort of way, we should be able to connect with people through a location, maybe somewhere they've traveled, somewhere they've lived. O is occupation. Maybe they've done something. Like, for an example, if Bill, let's say Bill used to work with his hands back in the day and used to mow lawns. I could totally connect with Bill because I used to mow lawns in the summers with my brothers and I loved mowing lawns. Okay. So find something that you can connect with through that. Okay. R is recreation, what you do for fun. And then D is dreams. So in some sort of way, you want to be like, you should be able to connect through one of those things with somebody. And something that's very interesting that I'm like starting to realize is this idea of how do we connect with people? What are tips and tricks of how we talk to people, whether it's on social media or in person? If you've never heard of the book called Never Split the Difference, really, really cool, interesting book on negotiations. It's this guy that talks about his years as a negotiator, like legit, like a negotiator in like hostage situations and things like that. And he talks about how he connects with the kidnapper or the person holding up a store or something like that, and how you connect with somebody. And so, one of the big things he talks about, is I have some of these notes up here, is he said people want to be understood and accepted. The two primary urges that we want to feel as human beings, as safe and secure, and we have this need to feel in control. Okay. So he talks about, we've heard this saying, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. The more we're interested in somebody else, the more they're going to want to connect with us. Like, wow, someone actually is interested in what I'm doing and what I'm like, what I care about. Okay. So how can we care for, like, genuinely care of what they're focused on or what they're doing in their life. Okay. So realize that as you're doing this, be very, very curious and keep asking questions. And it's amazing the connection that you can have with somebody. This last week, for an example, for me, like, I feel like me and my brother-in-law, my new brother-in-law, we have like a connection. Awesome guy, super stud. But at times I feel like we're not super connected in some sort of way. I mean, like we are connected, but in some sort of way. And something I know that he loves is golf. And I know it's not the Masters, the US Open, I think, is on right now. So I'm able to like ask him questions about different things that's going on. Like, and that's how we're able to connect, because I know that he loves golf and I can ask him questions about it. Okay. So big things to remember as you can as you try and connect with people. Even if you've ever read or listened to how to win friends and influence people, a big part of that is being genuinely interested in the other person. And that's how we can connect with people. Okay. So I'm going to kind of like open this up for Q&A, or even other tips and tricks to help. How do you guys help talk with people? So again, the homework is to have 100 conversations in the next 48 hours. And the goal is to warm up these conversations with people. Okay. So I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any questions? I'm trying to see if anybody has anything over here on Facebook. Not really. Here's all my comments. Sorry, my comments were coming through on Facebook. So anyways, Anybody have any questions, any comments about the homework? I know the homework seems pretty easy, but any even tips and tricks of, as you guys have like reached out to a lot of people before in the past, what methods do you use to connect with people? Kind of talk me through that. Josie, thank you so much. I'm seeing and Virginia, thank you guys so much for writing some of these things. Appreciate it. Make genuine connections, putting the LORD, the Lord things in there, safe and secure, need to feel in control, be curious, ask questions. Thank you guys so much for putting that over there.
Hey, Robbie.
Yeah.
I want to share something that has worked recently. So I've reached out to my customers and I've asked them if they know of 5 people that they would like to invite to my page. And they've all, of course, been super helpful. And so they'll tell me, yeah, I just invited 5 people. So I respond, sweet, that's so awesome. Would you mind telling me who you invited so I can reach out to them? So they do, and I send them a personal message and just introduce myself to them and tell them I'm so excited that they're here, and I give them the link to my app and I say, hey, will you go to this app and take 5 screenshots of your 5 favorite pieces of jewelry? No purchase necessary. I just want to see kind of what type of jewelry you like. And so last night on my live, I had 3 new viewers from doing that. And of course, they bought jewelry. So I am super, super excited. I'm going to keep doing this and see where it takes us.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Love it, Robin. Even something to like, as one of those things that you're reaching out to some of these new people, like stalk each one of them real quick and just say, hey, like they've got family. Hey, like I can tell from their profile picture, they have a dog. So obviously like their dog is like their family. Like, oh my gosh, I love the dog. What's their name? Right? Find some way to connect with them and compliment them. Right. And even like Robin, just like, hey, what are some of your favorite pieces? I'm just interested in seeing what you like. And even like, if you want to give value, not saying you have to do this or not, but like send them a piece that they loved. Like, how would that feel that I'm not expecting to get a free piece or something that I liked and I got in the mail from them? It's like, whoa, that was super nice of them, you know? So some different ways to kind of connect with people and add value. The goal is to connect and to add value, just like, because that's what you want to do. You want to brighten people's days. Okay. Anybody else have anything else they'd like to add? Thank you again, Robin, for that. That was awesome. Mildred, I saw your win at the beginning. Sorry I didn't announce this out. Life of the Party bronze, 3 consecutive years on the way to silver. Great. Crushing it, Mildred. You're doing awesome. Good for you. Good for you.
Robbie, I wanted to piggyback on something you just said, and it kind of lit a fire inside me. One of my VPs said on our power hour, probably yesterday or maybe Monday, in order to get that one leg up, not only do we have to stand apart, but we have to do something extra. When Robbie just said, how great would that feel if you sent someone a piece that they like and they totally didn't expect it? That's extra. That's extra. So when we're pulling out these next 48 hours and we're sending that message, be extra with it. Like Robbie said, stalk their profile, go into some of their feeds, go to some people that they know, see their connections, really do a little bit of research so it'll be a quality conversation and do something extra. That research is the extra. Knowing more about them personally is the extra. That just came to me because I did an extra. I reached out to a friend, hadn't spoken to in years, knew they had children, children were grown. Hey, what are your grown children up to? Well, my daughter is at home with the kids. Bing, let me talk to her. And we've been talking. So yeah, keep listening, just listening. It works.
I love that. And it's crazy how well we're how good we are at knowing if someone is like feeling genuine or how far they've come into like, maybe, researching us a little bit is a better word than stalk. Researching us a little bit and be like, oh my gosh, how's your daughter doing? Like, that was so awesome. I saw in a post that she just graduated from high school and you guys had an awesome party. How was that? Right? That's a little bit extra. I mean, I love that. Just like, what's the little bit of extra that you can provide to people that it's a little bit of work, but it goes a long way. It goes a long way. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate it. If anyone has anything else, raise your hand real quick. If not, we'll wrap things up for today and kind of give you some guys extra time to kind of prepare for new releases, but also give this some thought and just realize, okay, the goal's 100. Am I really going to do this? Okay, maybe I have a crazy weekend with an event. Maybe I'm going to at least try and get to 50, but try and commit to something to try and warm up some conversations. So this next month, as we get into this sprint, we're ready for it and realize this is just practice. Be excited and love the activity and the process, not just the result. So I'll be happy when I'll get 1,000 pieces. I'll be happy when my team gets to this. It's like, be happy in the activity and enjoy the process, connecting with people.
Really quickly, I wanted to reflect on yesterday's training, the 5 questions. Team, I read the 5 questions several times, but today is the day that I actually thought out a sentence to question 1. It's a process, all right? So put those questions from yesterday with our 100 today. Why? For what? Why are we here? What are we doing? So that is it. It's going hand in hand, team. It's going hand in hand.
Love it. Love it. Coach Tanya coming at you. Love it. Thank you so much, Tanya. You're awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Valencia, Jermaine, Virginia, so good to see you guys here. Bill, Josette, seriously, thank you guys so much. Zanetta, thank you guys so much. We love you. As always, thanks for joining us. Everybody over on Facebook, thank you guys so much for joining us. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye-bye.